in contradiction to what I always thought about being disciplined, being structured, knowing what to do, keeping schedules, making lists, because I thought that doing those things is what will move me forward or what will get me forward. But I currently even think that making schedules, making lists is the worst thing that you can do, because it makes everything much more difficult than it should be. And it doesn't give you any freedom, doesn't give you any free space to be creative or to do something totally different. Because actually what we are doing when we are making schedules is we try to predict our lives, try to predict that is the thing that I'm going to do at that moment. But I am absolutely sure that everybody that is listening to this can um, can understand or can think about situations in their life that things didn't go the way they planned. I even think that you maybe cannot even think about situations where things went the way you planned them. And that means, okay, if you can say, I'm only using my schedule or my agenda as some kind of guidance, but it's all open, then that would be all right, of course. But that's most of the time not the case. So now you plan something, you write something down in your schedule or in your agenda. The moment comes up, and something unexpected happens. And because you are now so stuck to that schedule, because you think, if I don't do the thing that I've scheduled, then I'm going to be left behind, or I have to catch up on some things, and you feel bad about it. But you couldn't predict what would happen in that moment. But we think we can predict what will happen in those moments, so we plan things out. And when things take a different direction, then we feel bad about ourselves, or we feel disappointed because we didn't do something that we set out to do. That's also the same. That's also the case with, let's say, for example, training for a marathon, or training for whatever it is. We're training, we make a schedule, we say, this week we have to do this, and this. And when that moment comes, we force ourselves to do that certain training. But in that moment, we might not feel very well. And we still do that training, and that training went absolutely shit. So it was of no use. But we think that we need to follow that schedule in detail, because if we don't, we will not catch, or we will not achieve the goal that we set out. And that's absolutely not the way the world and nature works, because we can never predict what is going to happen. And as I just said, we can use agendas as guidelines, but that's never the case. If we set the people that set out to do these things, the people that make schedules, feel very connected to keeping that schedule, but there's no space for creativity. Then on the other hand, there are also only so much important things to do. And yes, you can have an appointment somewhere, and maybe you write it out somewhere on a piece of paper, and you put it on the fridge. I don't know. That could help. But planning out everything in advanced weeks ahead, what are you doing? What is happening? That's not how life works, and that's definitely not how nature works. You cannot predict these things, and you make things only way harder than they should be and than they could be. And if you don't plan out things, the things that are most important to you, you will not forget these. You will not forget about these things. And if you are forgetting about these things, they are not that important to you. If something is super important to you, you don't have to plan it out. You don't have to write things down. You just go with wherever the wind is blowing, in whatever direction there it is going at that moment. And trying to plan things out, in my opinion, only makes things much harder than they should be. It's never going to work. You feel anxious, and you feel bad about yourself if you don't hit those things. So I think that it's absolutely better to not keep a schedule. If something is super important that you cannot forget because it's at a certain time, you can write it down somewhere on a piece of paper. But I truly believe that keeping schedules is not the way to go, and it's definitely not how this world is shaped together, and how human nature works. And just trying to be more free, have more free space. Also make sure that you are way more creative, and good things can happen also, things that you didn't expect. Because if you would have set out that you, I don't know, do have to do a certain thing at a certain time, but something new comes up, what are you going to do? Maybe it's a very good chance, maybe it's something that you would absolutely make you feel very happy and make you feel very glad, because but now because you set out to do a certain thing, you are going to do that and you cannot do anything else. And that's at least how I think about it, that's how I look at it, and that's also how I try to do things differently. Let us know about yours. Share them in the comments. If you have any questions, also please share them in the comments. And for now, again, thank you very much for listening.